Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharyamadhyamam Asmadacharyaparyantam Vande Guru Paramparam Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namabhi Bhagavatpada Shankaram Lokashankaram Sadatmadhyani Niratam Vishayebhyah Parangmukham Naumi Shastreshu Nishnatam Chandrasekhara Bharatim Om. We were looking at verse number 17 of the Viveka Chudamani, and we had done an introduction to that verse, and we were in the middle of the Vyakhya by Jagadguru Srimad Chandrasekhara Bharati Mahaswami. So the verse was Vivekinu Viraktasya Shamadi Gunashalinaha Mumukshoreva hi Brahma Jigyasa Yogyata Mata. So essentially, the four sadhana chatushtaya sampatti has been mentioned here, and it said the one who is sadhana chatushtaya sampannam is the one who is yogyam or qualified for doing an inquiry into Brahman. And the sadhana chatushtaya sampatti was viveka, vairagya, shamadhi shatkam, and mumukshutvam. Viveka being the discriminating or discerning intellect which is able to distinguish between Nitya Vastu and Anitya Vastu, Atma and Anatma. Vairagyam meaning supreme detachment, the absence of attraction towards pleasures, experiential pleasures, whether it is worldly, secular, or spiritual or otherworldly. Samadhi Shatkam is a refined mind which is capable of a deep study of Vedanta, a deep inquiry into Vedanta, such a mind which is not distracted by external influences, and therefore the sense organs are controlled. There is Dhamma, the mind is controlled, there is Shama, there is Uparama, which is Sannyasa, there is Titiksha, forbearance, there is Samadhanam, equanimity, etc. And then Mumukshutvam, or the deep desire, burning desire for liberation. So only a person who has these four qualities is qualified for Brahma Jigyasa or doing an inquiry into Brahman, doing Shravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasanam. So if we go to the commentary by Jagadguru Srimad Chandrasekhara Bharati Mahaswamigal on page number 13, the commentary to verse 17, in the middle, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th line in the commentary of the 17th verse, it says Vivekinaha iti Vivekadiswarupam spashtayishyate mula eva uparashtat. The word Vivekinaha means the one who is endowed with Viveka, and the nature of Viveka, Vairagya, etc. will be clarified in the Moolam itself, in the main verse, the Viveka Chudamani verses itself, Uparishtat, in the next few verses. So it doesn't go into too much detail. And then he says, what is the Brahma Jigyasa? Now, the word Jigyasa essentially means Jyatum Ichha Jigyasa. The desire to know is Jigyasa. So, essentially, what he is saying is Brahma Jigyasa means the one who is qualified to have the desire to know is what Brahma Jigyasa means. Brahmanaha Jigyasa, Brahma Jigyasa. So, what is the meaning of qualifications for desire? How can you have a quality for desire? You can either have desire or not have desire. How can you qualify for desire? So, therefore, the word jigyasa or desire must be properly understood here. In this case, it is not merely desiring something, but taking the steps to achieve the object of desire, and therefore the scripture cannot say you must desire something. The scripture must can say take steps to achieve something, or you must know something. It cannot say you must cultivate a desire for something, because desire will automatically come. You cannot say I must desire. The scripture cannot provide an injunction or a vidhi for desiring something. Anyway, so here he's saying Gyatumichha Jigyasa, Brahmano Jigyasa, Brahma Jigyasa, Tatra Avagati Paryantam Jnanam Sanvachyaya Ichhayaha Karma. So here Jagadguru Mahaswamigal is saying that the outcome that is desired to be brought about by the desire is the avagati paryantam jnanam. That is, until one has got the direct comprehension of Brahman as myself, until that avagati has arisen, that desire must drive one's actions. So, such a desire which brings about that effect is what is being referred to by Brahma Jigyasa. It is not merely a desire of, oh, I must want it, but I must also take up the steps to achieve it and I must achieve it also. So, the desire must impel one to achieve the outcome, and that is what is being meant by Brahma Jigyasa, and therefore, we understand Brahma Jigyasa not merely as a passive desire for knowing Brahman, but it is an active desire that manifests itself in the form of inquiry, the process of inquiry, and the outcome of the process of inquiry is the direct comprehension of Brahman. So, therefore, the Brahma Jigyasa or the inquiry into Brahman or the Jnana Abhyasam refers to the Karma Yoga as the first step, which will give the Chitta Shuddhi. From Karma Yoga, you have Upasana Yoga to get the integration of the mind, to get the one pointedness of the mind, the Chitta Ekagrata. And from Upasana Yoga, one goes into Shravanam to directly hear the scriptures from the Guru. From Shravanam, one goes into Mananam, one cogitates upon what is being taught, one thinks upon what is taught, one resolves all the doubts about what is taught about the nature of Brahman oneself. And then Nididhyasanam, one abides in the knowledge of the identity of Brahman and the Jiva and oneself, that all that exists is pure consciousness and consciousness alone, until one has got the Akhandakara Vritti or the cognition of Brahman being the only identity that there is, and that Brahman is none other than me, the pure consciousness. I, the consciousness, am all there is. Until that cognition has arrived, that outcome is what is desired by Brahma Jigyasa, and so the Ichha that manifests itself in the effort that is required to get the Jnanam and culminates in such a Jnanam is what is being referred to here. And that is what Acharya is saying here. Akhandakara vritti pratipalita chaitanyam jigyasa pada lakshamana vicharasya phalam. The stated vichara or inquiry, the vicharasya phalam, the result of such an inquiry, which is being indicated by the word jigyasa pada lakshamana vicharasya phalam. So he's saying the direct meaning of jigyasa is desire, but the lakshamana artham or lakshartham or the indicated meaning of the jigyasa padam, the implied meaning or the secondary meaning, the intended meaning here is the result of inquiry is what is being indicated by the word jigyasa. And what is the result of inquiry? It is the akhandakara vritti pratipalita chaitanyam. Now, chaitanyam or consciousness illuminates everything in this universe. It also illuminates one's own thoughts. So, in Advaita Vedanta, the real seer, the one because of which everything else is known, is consciousness. So, sunlight is required to see objects. But how do you see the light itself? What is it that sees the light? You will say the eyes see the light. Okay. But how do you know that there is something called a night, the eyes? What sees the eyes? You will say the mind sees the eyes. Okay. What sees the mind? The entity that sees the mind, the real I, aham, is consciousness. So, in the Ekashloki of Adi Shankaracharya also, essentially it is a one verse summary of the Swayamjyoti Brahmanam of the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Essentially, what that mantra is saying, or that verse is saying by Adi Shankaracharya, is that I am that Param Jyoti because of which everything else is known. And that in that consciousness is the thing which is illuminating all our thoughts. Now, the jnanam that we are talking about is the jnanam of that consciousness. Now, how is it possible for jnanam to cognize consciousness? Because consciousness is the universal subject, and that universal subject can never be objectified by anything. So, to give you an example, to see objects, I may use a lamp or a lantern. But to see the sun, do I need to have a lamp? The sun is automatically visible. I may need a lamp to see everything else when the sunlight is not there. But to see sun itself, I do not need the lamp. The sunlight itself is sufficient. Similarly, I use the thoughts to know all objects. But how to know the seer of the objects? So in Advaita, the vritti by which ajnanam of the self is removed is called the akhandakara vritti. Now, why it is called akhandakara vritti, etc., is a very technical topic dealing with the nature of Mahavakyam and how it conveys what is known as akhandartham. That is a very, very technical, very deep topic which we should not go into at this stage. But suffice it to say, the vritti that removes the ignorance of Brahman, the vritti that arises because of truly understanding the meaning of Aham Brahmasmi, that is called Akhandakara vritti. So, such a vritti objectifies Brahman and Brahman alone. In the sense, all that it does is it reveals aham and aham alone. It has only aham, that aham as Brahman as its object. And such a vritti is called akhandakara vritti. And the consciousness that illuminates that vritti and is reflected in the vritti, that akhandakara pratiphalita chaitanyam, that consciousness reflected in that such a thought, is the outcome of Brahma Jigyasa. The ultimate outcome of Brahma Jigyasa is that Akhandakara Pratiphalita Chaitanya. And that is what Jagadguru Srimad Chandrasekhara Bharati Mahaswamigal is saying here. सामान्यतो ब्रह्मज्ञानस्य विचारात् पूर्वमपि सत्त्वात् एतादृशम् इष्टं सम्पादनीयं चेत् कथं सम्पादनीयं चेत्. So here Acharya is raising a possible doubt and he is addressing that doubt itself. So he's saying, when I hear the words Aham Brahmasmi, what knowledge arises? I am Brahman. Okay, that knowledge I've got. Now, why is the need for me to talk about um, a great process required for of inquiry when I can simply the words itself will tell me that I am Brahman. Okay, I am Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi. I have that knowledge. So, what is the necessity to do an inquiry into Brahman? If such a doubt is asked, then Acharya is providing the answer to this, and he's quoting a few verses. Dadyan na avasaram kinchite kamadinam managapi asuptehe amriteh kalam nayed vedanta chintaya ityuktaritya sarvadika vedanta vicharaha avashyakah. He says, the Akhandakara vritti that we are talking about is a vritti that has only Brahman as its object, and it is also not a Brahman that is an object to I, the subject. So let me repeat that. The content of the Akhandakara vritti, the content of the Akhandakara vritti is Brahman, which Brahman is not something other than me, the Chaitanya. Now, the problem that we are facing in our life is of samsara. That problem is arising of Anadi Avidya Vasana, the impressions from countless births that we have had in the past, wherein we have considered ourselves to be some finite individual creature operating within a body. Whereas Advaita Vedanta says, you no, 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 you are not that. You are verily the Paramatma himself, and it is you who is the locus of the appearance of the universe. You are everything that appears. All that exists is you and you alone. You are not some small entity in a vast universe. The universe is a small bubble, an appearance that is coming in you. Now, when someone who has had anadi avidya vasana or the impressions from countless births of ignorance, to get rid of that ignorance is not an easy task. And therefore, in order to get that akhandakara vritti, because only such an akhandakara vritti will get rid of that ignorance once and for all. To get that vritti is not a simple task, because if we have a conception of Brahman as something other than ourselves, and if we have a conception of ourselves as some limited creature, then such a knowledge will not give us liberation. Only the knowledge of ourselves as completely infinite and unrestricted, only such a knowledge will give liberation. So, that knowledge cannot have as its content even one iota of ignorance. It cannot have anything else apart from Brahman as its content. And even if there is one iota of ignorance or any product of ignorance, including any aspect of the world, and by the world, I'm starting off with my mind, and I'm going on to all the 14 lokas, to all the different conceptualizations of Ishvara, to all the conceptualizations of Devatas. So everything I'm including within the gambit of object. Anything which is objective, if that is included within the conceptualization of either I or Brahman, then such a knowledge will not confer moksha. And therefore, one has to constantly work at refining that idea of what that Brahman is. If we conceptualize something and say that is Brahman, we can be assured that that is not the Brahman that Advaita wants you to know. It is not an object of knowledge, it is the eternal subject of knowledge, it is the eternal I, and that I can never be objectified, and therefore that Akhandakara vritti cannot have any object at all. And the purpose of vichara, the purpose of Shravanam is to understand what that I is. The purpose of Mananam is to reconcile the fact that that I is not finite. The purpose of Nididhyasanam is to remove the habitual notions of Anatma that keep plaguing the idea and conceptualization of I and keep plaguing the idea, the conceptualization of Brahman. It is to remove those things that one needs inquiry. That is the purpose of vichara, and that is simply not known before the arisal of the jnana. Simply by knowing Aham Brahmasmi, as as we hear it, will not give that outcome that we want. The outcome that we want is moksha. And to get that moksha, to realize that Brahman, we have to go through the process of inquiry. And that is what Acharya is saying here. And he's quoting a verse that says that one should not give any scope or opportunity for any raga dvesha, any attraction or aversion to any anatma, any object should not give, we should not allow our mind to be plagued or to go alongside any or go towards any anatma or go away from any anatma. We should not give scope for any kama, for any ragadvesha, is what Acharya is saying in this particular verse. So let's read that. It says, Dadyat na avasaram Kinchite kamadinam managapi. One should not yield or give scope for kama, desires, etc., even to the slightest degree. One should not entertain any such thoughts of anatma or desires for anatma, etc., because all of that is not going to help us in this vichara or inquiry into Brahman. And how long should one not give scope for desires? Acharya says, Asuptehe amriteh kalam nayent vedanta chintaya. So, as long as you are awake, as long as you're alive, do not let your mind go after anatma, constantly engage in Vedanta Vichara. Constantly, one must continue on the path of inquiry, constantly pursue, or you should only permit the mind to go in the lines of Shastra Chintanam, in the lines of what has been taught in Vedanta. One must not give scope for any sort of opposing views or any sort of uh, views that go against what has been taught in Shastra. One must constantly be engaged in Vedanta Chinta. And that's the kind of life that Acharya led as well. So he led that by example. In Acharya's life, we can see how he has literally embodied this verse. All through his life, he dedicated it to the pursuit of Atma Vichara, to Vedantic inquiry. And in him, we have the right example to emulate. Because he's saying, be like me, but he's being very humble and he's not saying that. But his life is actually that shining example for any serious mumukshu. If one is doing this as just as an interest, okay, one of the other things that I study, then that is okay. But it's not going to give us moksha. But if one has that burning, overpowering desire to escape from samsara, to get moksha, then one has to go through that. One, as long as one is alive, as long as one is awake, one has to only think about the Atma and nothing else. It is very tough, but that is the path that we are on. It is not a difficult path in the sense that we will not understand what is being taught. It is difficult in the sense that to live up to that path is a challenge, but we must gladly accept that challenge because when we are on the path, even though there are difficulties and obstacles, we have Ishvara and Guru's support and their blessings, and with that, we will definitely achieve that success. But we must strongly cultivate that desire to attain Brahman in this manner. And that cultivation of that desire, which culminates in that Akhandakara Vritti Pratiphalita Chaitanyam, in knowing oneself as one is, as has been taught in the scriptures, is the ultimate aim because that knowledge will free us from the cycle of births and deaths that we have been doing ever since the beginning. In fact, from a beginningless time, we have been doing that. Anyway, continuing. He quotes this verse and says, Iti uktaritya sarvadika vedanta vicharaha avashyakaha. One must constantly engage in Vedanta Vichara. It's avashyakam. It is absolutely necessary if one wants to attain moksha, he says. And then he quotes another verse, Dehatma jnana vate jnanam dehatma jnana badhakam atmanyeva bhavedyasya sa nechannapi muchyate iti ukta jnana janayitum sa eva samartha. So here this verse is saying, right now, what do we think? We think I am a human being. And we are absolute conviction in this. We do not have to have someone wake us up every morning and say, no, no, you are a human being, you are a human being. That conviction is intrinsic and natural. Who gave us that conviction? How did we get it? Howsoever we got it. We have that conviction in the sense if somebody wakes us up in the middle of the night and asks, who are you? we will say I am a human being, or we'll say something, but we are absolutely certain that we are a human being. He's saying, because we have such a strong conviction that the deham or this body is the atma, because when you say I'm a human being, what is that I that you're talking about? What is that human being? The body is what is human. It's a human body. So if you are in a lion's body, then you will say I am a lion. You will not say it, but you will have abhimana that you are a lion. So, what we are talking about, human, cow, dog, etc., refers to the shariram, not to the one who is the shariri, not to the embodied one. We are referring to the body. Just like we have such a wrong conviction, but such a strong one. It is wrong and strong conviction that the body is the self. Similar for such a conviction to go, we need to have an equal and opposing conviction, opposing knowledge with the same conviction that I am not the body, I am the self. What I am is not the body, I am the all-pervading consciousness. And so it says, Dehatma Jnanavat Jnanam, Dehatma Jnana Badhakam. If you have conviction that I am Brahman to the same extent or as powerful as the misconception that the Ajnanis have that I am this body, I am a human being, only such a powerful jnana can overcome this misconception. Dehatma jnana vat means like that jnana that you have that you are the human being, only such a jnana which is equally powerful can be the badhakam or the negator or the overthrower of the dehatma jnana. So it says dehatma jnanavat jnanam, dehatma jnana badhakam, atmani eva bhavedyasya sa nechanapi muchyate. So who has such a conviction that I am the Atma, whose conviction lies in the Atma, Atmani eva bhaved yasya jnanam, he whose jnanam is identification is with the Atma and not with the body and not with any anatma, only such a person will get moksha. And here it says, na ichchanapi muchyate, even if he doesn't desire liberation, he is liberated without having a desire for liberation itself. Even if he says, no, 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 I don't want liberation, but he has a strong conviction that he's not the body, he's the Atma, such a person, even without desiring liberation, he will attain liberation. So essentially, it means that that is what is required. One needs to have a very powerful conviction that one is not the body, one is the self. And Acharya is saying, iti uktagyanam janayatum sa eva samartha. So, to get this kind of conviction, this kind of knowledge with that conviction, only Brahma Jigyasa is samartha or is capable of doing that. Only a desire that I need to be that I need to get Brahma Jnanam, that leads me into inquiry, which where I'm constantly contemplating my nature as consciousness, as revealed in the scriptures. Asuptehe amritehe. As long as I'm alive, as long as I'm awake, only such a intense sadhana will give me a jnanam which has the sufficient conviction to overpower my dehatma jnanam, my misconception that I am the physical body, that I am the mental body. So that brings us to the conclusion of the commentary to verse number 17. The next line is actually an introduction to verse number 18. Etadrisha vichara jananiya ichha तत्र योग्यता विवेकादि साधन युतस्यैव न अन्यस्य इति एवकार बोधितम् अर्थम् अन्वयेन व्यतिरेकेण च स्पष्टयति साधनानि इति. So essentially what Acharya is saying is that the ichha or the desire that leads one to do this vichara is that desire is the janani or the mother or the cause for such a vichara, and the person who has for whom such a desire will arise, which culminates in jnanam ultimately, is the one who is vivekadi sadhana yuta, the individual who is endowed with the vivekadi sadhana chatushtayam, na anyasya, not someone else. Iti evakara bodhitam artham. So in this verse, it had said mumukshoho eva. So that evakara means only such a person who has the sadhana chatushtaya sampatti, not somebody else, is what is being indicated with this evakara. And that explanation that only such a person who is endowed with sadhana chatushtayam is qualified for Vedanta vichara, not somebody else, is being explained in the next few verses by the mechanism of Anvaya Vyatirekam. So, what is this Anvaya Vyatirekam? We will consider in the next class. With that, we will bring the current session to a conclusion, and we will take up the commentary and the introduction and the commentary to the next verse in the next class. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om.